Oh, there goes the video. Hey, everybody. Today is May 28th, 2017. It's my 16th day in my second year, so we're at 1.016. Today's video is a couple things. First of all, you can tell I moved my room around. It used to be switched. And so instead of having the window and the window, now I have window and window. So I'm getting a lot of light this way. So I think you're seeing more of my skin actually lit up, and getting light from this way will give some, profiling. I don't know, backlight. I don't think that's the right word for it. But anyway, some contrast. So, and obviously it's a little bit later, and it's about 6 o'clock at night. So that's a lot of moving, and for those, this is my first time this is my first set of acrylic nails. I've had them for 3 weeks, and they're starting to, you can see the edge of where they are. I guess this would be like the time to replace them, but I don't have the money for it. I'm not going to, this was my present for breaking 300 pounds, so I didn't really set another goal. But anyway, before the coffee does its magic, let me jump to task. I've been watching my videos today as I moved the furniture around, and yesterday as I was doing a lot of yard work, I had an opportunity to just kind of think, and I just want to make sure I'm in the right. Okay. I had a lot of thought about the OkCupid online dating, and this will be not really specific to maybe to online dating, but I noticed that I gather that people see your picture, and they click on you, so it counts how many people click on your picture, and it doesn't necessarily count how many then go on to like you, say I like this person. But I noticed that I get a lot of traffic as I would expect. People, whether they're logging in or logging on, new people, or they haven't been on a while, or they check it every day. It tells you who the new people in your area are. And so, I think I get some traffic. I like to imagine that I get traffic. And I imagine what I think happens is people then, they get so far and they look at your picture and they're like, okay, all right, after a couple drinks, yeah, she'd look kind of good. And then they get to your profile. Hopefully they read your profile. And, my profile, as I had said in a previous video, is pretty quick to the chase. My second line is I'm transsexual, and I go in to explain what that means, being pre-op, what transgender means. And I even say sex change. Only because I want to be very, very honest with people. I don't want to, in my past, maybe I imagined a first date of some kind, and the person not knowing, and then, how do you bring that up? And I guess that's a question I've asked my support group, and haven't really gotten a good answer yet. It's one of those things that's like we're supposed to talk about if we have time. Excuse me, picking my nose. But again, it's one of those things. It had always kind of was like you meet someone. I'm thinking speed dating, but a date or a blind date or someone you don't know, and we can hope that our transition is so successful. I don't know if that's the right word either, that we pass. I don't know if that's a good word either, but that someone doesn't like clock us and oh my gosh, I think looking at me, especially 6 foot tall, heavy set, deep voice, I don't think anyone could even possibly assume that I wasn't trans. And yet today at KFC, part of moving furniture around, we went and got KFC, and just as I am today, no makeup, no nothing, didn't speak any differently. Yes, ma'am, how can I help you? So can I imagine for the moment that, if I go, I'm going to get, at least 30 seconds of, this could be a cis girl. I don't know. Does it really matter? But beyond that, getting to that point of what someone might look at me and say, okay, here's again, after a couple drinks, beauty's only skin deep, or beauty's only a light switch away, or whatever, to look at me and even for the sake of this video, let's say, make the next step. Okay. I'm going to punch the like button, or I'm going to send her a message or whatnot. Knowing, and here's maybe my own shortfall for my stage where I'm at now, where I don't have a clitoris. And I don't have, it's been said, my grandmother used to say that if a man can't drink it or eat it, he fucks it. And, anal sex aside, which I've never had, I don't necessarily know if I feel comfortable with it, but I've never tried it. I'm not really open to experimentation either. Like I said in a previous video, I can understand if you were a cis male and you were used to cis women, you would definitely want a warm place to put your penis to get off. Full disclosure, I have tried giving oral sex one time, and it was kind of just it was, you do it, I do it kind of thing. There was no love to it. And, I can barely remember it. I'll put it to you that way. It was so long ago. And I think definitely things are a little bit different now. If I was presented that opportunity and it was someone I cared about or wanted to please in that manner, it would be a little bit different. And, I definitely, that was a long time ago before I even thought about transitioning in college. I think in college is kind of, you get a learner's permit somewhat. So anyway, but again, back to that idea of what happens when I've been thinking about this, if you can't tell, what happens when someone sees your picture, and for the sake of this video, let's assume they're like, oh yeah. What is something that keeps them from hitting that like? And if we can get to the point that we talk about, okay, Robin doesn't have a clitoris. Robin doesn't have a happy hole for me to stick my pee-pee in. How important is that? Knowing that as soon as I lose the weight, God willing, I'm going to have GCS. Mentally, could we imagine that situation where you were, you're a male, and you're like, maybe the male is interested, and get over that. I know from a married point of view, when I was married, now granted, maybe I'm not a good example. In our heads, the stereotypical marriage, how often is sex? As part of a week, what is the frequency that a man and a woman are actually doing it? Compared to their daily lives. I tend to think our lives are more in the majority, and, so take sex out of it, or the occasional sex. Could I be an excellent wife? Or maybe not necessarily a wife but could I be an excellent close friend? Absolutely. Could I be an excellent confidant that you could maybe tell me something or share something with me? Absolutely. Would I be an excellent sounding board? Absolutely. Couples, boyfriend, girlfriend, they share ideas, geez, work, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, tell me about your day. Let me help you. Tell me what's going on. That's kind of way, way more valuable than, an orgasm, at least in my mind. All of those things. And then you think about kids. Obviously I can't have children. I don't have the equipment, and really I don't want to have any new ones. I love my daughter a lot, and I could easily make room in my life for another person who had a child, maybe two, doubt it, one for sure. Provided we all got along, my daughter, their daughter or son, me, them, etc., etc. You know, I've been a really good father when I was a father. I still am a father, but you know what I mean? Like, hey, I can, you know, I was a good parent. I still am a good parent, but you know, I know how to, yes, no, I can't breastfeed, okay, but I know how to make formula, you know, and I know how to bottle feed, and I know how to burp, and I know how to raise a child. You know, I can be a good parental unit, okay. I may not be the child's mother in giving birth, but I definitely can be a mommy. You know, I definitely can be a matrial support unit, you know. So, like I said, again, part of me is thinking again back to some of the, you know, responses that I've gotten. One of them was, you know, no fag, which I made a video about. But again, if you were a father and you were divorced or widowed and you had a child, you know, to find someone who could be a sounding board and be a good, I can't think another side of that relationship, to be someone who's going to help raise your kids, you know, that's kind of golden, you know. And maybe in my mind, I think, you know, where was I when 20 years ago, maybe take the transgender out of it, you know, what was I looking for when I was doing online dating? And you know, there was a big boob phase, and to, you know, I went for the person, I went for the character, I went for, you know, what is the quality of this person. And I'm wondering, you know, here some 15 to 20 years later, as a middle-aged person, you know, I'm looking for someone who's stable. I'm not looking for a rock star guy. I'm not looking for someone who is, you know, Mr. Workout. I've seen a lot of workout videos, you know, it's the selfie with the muscle, and, you know, I'm not looking for that. You know, I'm looking for someone who's financially stable. I'm looking for someone who has a 401k that they've been contributing to, that we can retire, you know, with my 401k. You know, like, I'm looking for different things. You know, I'm not a cougar, for lack of a better word. So again, I think I have a lot I could offer if you could take the sex side out of it. And I would hope that, knowing that within the next year, if I can lose the weight and all of the circumstances come into line up, that, you know, I'll be having GCS, you know. So it's almost like, I was going to say, it's like one of us is in prison and we can't have conjugal visits, but that's not really it. You know, how much, again, for this discussion, how much is having to stick your dick in a clitoris compared to being a supportive person, a trustworthy friend, and if you're patient, you're going to get that, you know, you're going to have the opportunity to do that. You know what I mean? So maybe that's the rationale for continuing. And I can kind of almost see some of my experiences, you know, well, that's why I don't do online dating. Online dating's terrible. Well, you take the good, you take the bad, you put them together, and there you have the facts of life, right? You know what I mean? So anyway, but just kind of commenting, like I said, I've been processing this a lot today. Is I understand why someone, assuming that they find me physically attractive, why maybe they don't hit that button. And granted, you could say they're not into trannies, or there's some gay homophobia, all that stuff. You could say any of those things. But it kind of helps me push to say, okay, I'm doing the right thing. I'm keeping on my course and being open and honest. And you wouldn't want to start a relationship if you weren't honest anyway. So, you know, if it was not meant to be, it was not meant to be. So Anyway, I'm out of time. Good luck next time. Bye.